Yo guys, this is Reinhardt and this video is going to be about Frost Decay Pressure Master. So in this video I'm going to show you the correct way to put out a lot of pressure as the Frost Death Knight. So let's get started right away first of all with the presences. Frost presence when you go offensive, Blood presence when you go defensive. Blood presence really good against physical damage and sometimes helps you against the spell cleaves. While a Frost presence usually a very good benchmark to go and to put out a lot of pressure in RPGs and even arenas. So let's get started with the talents now. Unholy Blight is going to be a must because as a Frost Decay you kind of want to sit on your Unholy Runes and basically have a ballpark of Unholy Runes to be used for obliterates. And let me read it on that really quickly. So we have 2 Frost Runes and we have 2 Death Runes. So sometimes when you have only 1 rune available out of 4 or going for a recharge and you have a killing machine proc, make sure you have Unholy Rune available as a buffer to your obliterates. I hope that actually makes sense. So Unholy Blight in that sense is actually a very good talent in terms of applying your Blood Plague and Frost Fever, so letting your obliterates hit harder. Lichborn is because we do want to get out of fears and because we do need some survivability cooldowns, and I get a feeling that Lichborn is probably by far the best survivability cooldown there is. Chillbanes is a really good talent for a Frost Decay for one particular reason, because our Howling Blast apply AoE Snare and Chain of Ice roots, and when you root somebody with a Chain of Ice you have a decent amount of time to actually put out some really good pressure on the target. Frost Decay does a lot of damage, but he's not on the targets all the time, so Chillbanes in that sense actually helps a lot. Death Pact is a really good choice, and the Runic Corruption is amazing choice because for one particular reason is Frost Decays don't have a lot of rune regeneration, so Runic Corruption helps out a lot on that. Now for the Remorseless Winter guys, for the last tier talents, Gorfing Grasp for RBGs, Remorseless Winter for arenas, and or a Desecrated Ground, depending on who you're fighting. Basic ballpark what I found out is Remorseless Winter is amazing against the melee cleaves and the Desecrated Ground is really good against the spell cleaves. Let me reiterate on that really quickly guys. Remember, if you're training by a mage and he defreezes you, you trinket out, and he defreezes you again, after that 30 seconds, use a Desecrated Ground because it's an extra escape from a defreeze and it's actually a must to use against the mages. Excuse me. Now about the glyphs, I would like to go for Death and Decay, IBF and AMS for as a Frost Decay. Now let me show you the IBF. Yes, we kinda take a little bit of a survivability hit in terms of because it doesn't last the full 12 seconds, it only lasts 3 seconds, but the biggest benefit about it is that you can get out of deep freezes a lot faster. The problem right now is actually not a melee cliffs, believe it or not, we can survive against the melee cliffs pretty damn decently. The biggest problem for Unholy Decays is a mages right now. Mages just do whatever they want with us, and having an extra out, sort of like a trinket out of their deep freeze is really nice, and it does actually buffs our survivability in that sense. Okay, but if you don't like that, you can actually replace with a Glyph of Dark Simulacrum. And Glyph of Death and Decay, the only one it's usually good for is for one particular reason, is if you have a druid or if you're fighting against a druid, you can put D&D, you can group them over towards yourself and they will have to go through the whole D&D snare and they won't be able to shapeshift out of it at all. Okay, now the last thing I want to talk about is the talent Remorseless Winter and its synergy with the Chillbanes. As Chillbanes roots, your Remorseless Winter will make sure that you're gonna get a really good stun on that. And even though a lot of people can get out of the Remorseless Winter, Chillbane still helps the Remorseless Winter to stick on target and potentially stun it. Okay, so we talked about talents, we talked about the glyphs for Frost Decays. Now let's talk a little bit about some interesting stuff. Oh, by the way, Glyph of Shifting Presence can also be very valuable. Excuse me. Now let's talk a little bit about the overall Pressure Master because it sometimes gets tricky. What I see a lot of DKs do is what they do is just randomly obliterate spam, but what a lot of high-end DKs do is that they sometimes just sit on their runes, like literally sit on them and as soon as the killing machine procs, they get that obliterate crit. For one particular reason is because we do want to get those obliterate crits whenever our killing machine procs, because if we don't get those, Frost Strike does decent damage, but Obliterate, that's what kills people when you're playing a Frost Decay. It's really good, especially against the close armors. So in that sense, it's an amazing ability. But what a few people do sometimes, or they sometimes miss as a Frost Decay, is that necrotics are also a really good thing, an amazing thing, and a lot of people kind of discredit it. So let's get started really quickly. I'm gonna show you the power of a necro here. So I'm gonna pop my Pillar of Frost, I'm gonna pop my Activated Trinket, and I'm gonna necro stack here. If you see, my necrotic hit for 100k damage, and it also absorbs up to 62k. And if you manage to squeeze a few necrotics while you are doing a full burst, go for it. Just use the Death Runes for it. Sits on your Frost and Unholy Rune for Obliterate crits like I do right now, but use your Death Runes for necros and they will do their job. They will do their job well, and because it's really a whole lot easier, I would say, as a Frost Decay to keep up your so to say, to keep up your Death Runes. You can basically practically stack necrotics until they fall off. But with that said, it's only viable when you have all your strengths procced. It's not viable to do it outside of it. And let me reiterate really quickly. When the Decay pops Pillar of Frost, he gains 20% extra strength, and Activate Trinket at the same time, you're gonna be sitting at a lot of strengths, even a little bit more than Unholy, 5% more than Unholy. So with that said, yes, in that sense, Pillar of Frost is gonna be amazing, and stacking necros during that time is also going to be really important in part of your rotation. And sometimes they actually, especially on the plate wearers, they can be a lot more deadly than Obliterate. So this is what I'm kind of trying to make you guys a point, that to be a good Frost Decay is a little bit easy. To be a great Frost Decay, you just need to know how to do a really good proper necro stacking. And unfortunately, this is not my most interesting spec to play, because simply it's just too easy for me. But then again, there's a few people who like the spec, and there's nothing I can do about it. You guys wanted the Frost Decay, so there's a Frost Decay guide. Anyway, the last few things I want to talk to you guys about is sometimes what I've seen a really good decays in Arena do. They go Blood Tap for necro stacking, or Blood Tap for those to squeezing out those really good on point, so to say, necros or on point obliterates. Blood Tap actually provides a lot of flexibility to it, but overall DPS increase, that's what Runic Corruption gives you, so to say. And is there anything else I'm missing about Frost Decays? Well, a few things. Use your ghoul as sometimes you can use your ghoul as offensive cooldown, because it lasts 1 minute, so there is a really good window of view when you have to do death spec. But ghoul actually, believe it or not, does a really good damage on its own. Refreshing Disease is also not such a bad thing. Use your Howling Blast to provide some pressure and AoE snares, but keep in mind that Howling Blast, even though it is decent, it's not like it's gonna make a... some people just over abuse it for number padding, and this should not be happening. Let's take a look at how much my disease do damage. Yeah, my disease can actually ticking right now up to anywhere from 9 to 10k. They can crit tick for like 12k. That's what I've seen a Frost Decay diseases do if they applied correctly. Dazzling Decay can also put out a lot of pressure. So as a Frost Decay, think about it this way. And the pad actually hits for like crits up to like 10k. As a Frost Decay, this is what I want you guys to kind of think about here really quickly. As a whole, it's all about, hey, spread damage, put out a lot of necros, a lot of damage on one target. Frost Decay is a little bit different in terms of As a Frost Decay, what you need to do is you need to spread a little bit of a damage but focus a lot on your single target damage, even more so than Unholy. The biggest thing about Unholy though, it can actually provide a really good single target pressure, but it's AoE pressure that's what crippling teams at the same time. Unholy doesn't have a lot of costs associated with doing a lot of cleave damage, unlike Frost who actually have a lot of costs associated with it. Outside of, let's say, outside of Obliterate, procs for Rhyme, if you're gonna be using a lot of Howling Blast, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna pad the meters, but you're not gonna get the kills. And this is probably the main thing that a lot of Frost Decays are missing in that sense. So I hope this guide kind of helps you guys. If you have any more questions about Frost Decays, please don't hesitate to ask. I have macros. Okay, in all honesty, macros for Frost Decay and Holy Decay, they're very identical. So if there's anything you guys actually want me to ask about the spec, please go to my Reddit post and follow my Reddit discussion, and I'll answer all your questions over there. And if you guys can, give me their sound ups as well. Thanks everybody for watching, guys, and до свидания.